Coffee is good. It's that fresh coffee feeling. Fresh coffee, the second coffee of the day. You know you should have stopped drinking coffee about 3 hours ago, but you're on your second one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yup. That'll do it. That'll do it. God told me to go ahead and sit down and record this real quick, so I was about to head out, but I guess not. That's fine. Hi. So right now I'm practicing obedience because God told me to go ahead and sit down. I was going to go ahead and go outside, but a little birdie told me to sit down and talk to the people. Did I want to show up on camera like this? No. Would I prefer to have a different outfit on and my makeup done? Yes. But here we are. God won't bless you with the right one if you are still holding on to the wrong one. And what does that apply to? Everything. How are you going to welcome in the new if you're still holding on to the old? And that includes you, yourself, and you. How are you going to welcome in the new version of you if you're still holding on to the old version of you? That doesn't add up at all. It is you versus yourself. The old version has to leave and be done with entirely in order for you to welcome in the new version. That includes romantic relationships, friendships, old connections that you've outgrown. That includes career opportunities. Yeah, it applies to everything. How are you going to welcome in something new if you're still holding on to something that has been outdated? You're calling in for new items, but you're still holding on to the old items. Make that make sense? It doesn't. It doesn't. You want new people, right? You want new experiences. You want new connections. But you're still holding on to the old things that don't serve you, the things that are outdated, the things you've outgrown. You're asking for new things. There's no space for the new thing to come in because you're holding on to the old thing. And that includes you. You're holding on to old habits, old mindsets, old identities, old values. But the thing that you want, the thing that people want to manifest, the new reality, the new circumstance, the new identity, the new location, the new experiences, all of the above, how is that going to come in if you're still holding on to everything that's associated with the old version? It's like you want muscles, but you're not working out. How are you going to have a new fitness looking body, but you don't do the fitness looking work? Like, you're still consuming the old things that don't serve you when you know you shouldn't be. That can apply to a lot of things. Starts with P, rhymes with corn. You're consuming that, but you want to welcome in a new relationship, faith-based relationship. You want to welcome in new healthier things, but you're still holding on to that. Like, what? You're over here consuming social media and negativity, but you're asking for a business idea or a business plan, or it doesn't make sense. You are mentally and physically cluttered. You are energetically, spiritually, mentally, and physically cluttered. It's dusty. You asking for new shit, but you're holding on to old dusty shit. What are we talking about? No. That doesn't make any sense. Imagine if you were a spirit guide and your human is asking you for all these new items and you have them ready. You have them ready, brand new, fresh. And you try to deliver it to the human, and the human's looking at you like, I'm ready, please, please. And you're sitting there like, I don't, where is it supposed to? You got this over there. You want brand new clothes, but your closet's full of old ones. You want a brand new romantic connection, but you're still thinking about and wishfully thinking about the old one. You want a new living situation, but you didn't do any of the things that you were supposed to do in order to end the connections with the old one. You didn't learn the lessons you were supposed to learn. You didn't do the grieving required to welcome in the new thing and release the old thing. You didn't do the inner work required for the new thing. So how are you supposed to hold on to, maintain, sustain, and grow the new thing that you're asking for, but you're still holding on to the old thing? It only works that way. It only works that way at all. You know what I mean? And that's what people do all the time. You over here asking for new shit, but you ain't let go of the old shit. How? Please make that make sense. Please make it make sense. A lot of it is denial. Denial, fear of discomfort, fear of having an uncomfortable conversation that you know you need to have, fear of ending a connection you know you need to end, fear of the discomfort you'll have when you stop feeding into these old habits and mindsets, you know, fear of actually believing for something new, having faith in God and having faith in yourself. You'll be disqualifying yourself before you even like walked into the stadium, bro. You don't put yourself and sat yourself down on the bench. You didn't even try to play. You didn't even give yourself a chance. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. When it comes to addiction, that's a lot more complicated because of the chemical processes that happen in your brain and your body, and also your genetics come into play. But one way to look at it is if you want to stop doing what you're doing, you know, smoking and drinking, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, why are you still around the same people who are doing that? You even know the reason why you're smoking and drinking like that? If you don't know the real reason behind it, if you don't know what your triggers are, how are you going to stop? If you don't know the root cause, it's going to keep coming back up. You can't welcome in the new thing if you didn't really understand and learn the lesson from the old thing and then release it and then move on. You didn't do what was required. And that's a lot of the times why relapse happens. I would know. I've done it. I would know. I'm speaking from experience. It's not fun. That sucks. A lot of the times, I would allow myself to relapse and start smoking and drinking again, or binge or go blackout. I would convince myself initially, yeah, I can have one. It's fine. Denial. Denial. But a real reason is like I wasn't facing the thing that caused me to drink and smoke in the first place. So eventually it's going to come back around and bite you. It's going to come back for you. You didn't even address the first thing. I'm getting riled up, spilling coffee. Damn. You didn't even address the reason you have these behaviors. So you really expect to quit that behavior altogether if you don't understand why it's happening in the first place? No. you know? You have to understand and have the self-awareness behind what that old thing is that you're trying to release and move on from. Like, you really got to have a sense of introspection, awareness, accountability for whatever that thing is. You have to see it from a higher perspective in order to move on, because that's how you're going to quit repeating the pattern, whatever that pattern is. Even if it's just a social dynamic that's like toxic, and you think, oh, if I just quit this job, if I just quit this relationship, if I find new friends, it won't repeat itself. Like, no, it might, because you didn't learn the lesson in the first place. So you can't release the old thing because you don't even understand the old thing. So you don't even accept entirely the reason that dynamic happened, the reason you had that relationship, the reason why the thing was happening. If it's a toxic interaction, granted, not everything is always your fault, but you have to understand, what was your lesson to learn from a spiritual, energetic perspective? Did you learn it? Did you apply it? Okay, great. Then it probably won't repeat itself. If you really learn the lesson, it's not going to repeat itself like that. It's not going to come up. Man, talk about asking for new things, not letting go of old things. I had this job. I hated it. It was awful. Don't recommend. But that's just kind of how being an adult works. You have to have jobs that you don't like sometimes. But if you worked in restaurants and hospitality, you know how ridiculous it is and how ridiculous people are. So, without giving all the information, um, I was a manager, restaurant manager at a place that was, pretty high profile, people coming in, upscale, fine dining type of place. I've been in restaurants for over 15 years. It's a love-hate relationship. The workplace was not great. It's actually one of the worst jobs I've ever had. um, and I was looking for other jobs for a solid, like 2.5 months before I ended up leaving that place. And the reason I left that place is because God removed me. Literally had the most random injury, unprecedented, unsolicited, uncalled for, out of nowhere. I had a random injury in my hip, and I was removed altogether. God was like, boop, we're done here. I was insisting on staying until I lined something else up, which is why I didn't quit, because I wanted to so bad. And I was like, let me learn my lesson. Let me do the right thing. Let me, be the change that I want to see. There was a lot of self-sacrificing. There was a lot of me working myself into the ground, overextending myself, um, when it wouldn't have been reciprocated in any capacity. Me being unsupported, me being set up for failure on multiple occasions, and I knew it was happening, but I still went and did it because, that's what you're supposed to do. It's the right thing for the greater good. And also, I'm not just gonna like quit and leave other people shit out of luck, especially the people who came there to make money and survive on tips, because I know how that goes and it sucks. So, no, I'm not going to be the manager that just quits and lets down the people on the shift. I'm not going to just call out and never show up. Even if my boss is an asshole and everyone knows that that person is an asshole. Everyone knows that the owners are not great people, don't have the integrity and the character that you need and that you would want to run a business and be successful and actually, have consistent value and positivity. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all. But the point is, I wanted something new, and it was so hard for me to let go of that old thing. I wanted to be so responsible. I was really stubborn. I tried to make a difference. I tried to set a positive example for people. And I think I learned my lessons when I finally accepted that's never going to happen. You can try to be, zen as you want to, but sometimes you cannot be the change that you want to see in the world. Sometimes you really do have to just get the fuck out of there. And then God sure did get me the fuck out of there. God got me the fuck out of there. But yeah, it took a point where I had to realize, what are the lessons that I need to learn here in order to welcome in the new thing that I want? What is it that I actually want? And what do I need to do to get it, receive it, be attracted to it, be an attractive, magnet to that thing, the new reality and circumstance? And I think a part of it was me being so stubborn on holding on to the old thing because I didn't have all the answers around moving forward in life, in career. I didn't have all the answers. I didn't see all the steps. I didn't have a perfect plan. So I stayed. And the lesson I learned was, sometimes things won't change and you have to remove yourself. Sometimes things won't change and you have to remove yourself entirely in order to make space for that new thing that you want, even if it's painful and uncomfortable. Even if you really do want to leave the old thing and you don't know how to, and as much as you hate it, it's the familiarity that you have connected to it. It's just like, the devil I know type of idea. It's the certainty that you have connected to that old thing, but that's not going to serve you. Sometimes you got to take a leap of faith and move forward anyway, even if it doesn't make sense logically on paper, even if you don't have all the answers of what it's going to look like moving forward. You still got to do it. You want that new thing, you got to move differently. And sometimes moving differently looks like quitting everything that you know and that you're used to, and believing what God tells you, and believing in yourself enough to get through it. That's it. Somebody needs to hear that today. That was a good word for me too. So, yeah. Take that, marinate on it, and come back another time.